Whoa. So I'm glad that woke you up. All right. Welcome back, everyone, for the last part of the day. I'm glad that you all made it through this whole day about philosophy. And actually, if I look at my own group, it was really a great experience. Really very involved, everyone committed, and so I hope you had the same experience. But of course, we want to share what between the groups, of course, what also was talked about. So, and Elena prepared that for us together with the facilitators. So we're looking very much forward to that. And well, Elena, it's the floor is yours.
Clap for yourselves, because this was your work. I'm just presenting. That means don't shoot the messenger. Okay, so it was a very interesting experience. And what we did was, after the group discussions, the facilitators came together. They were expected to summarize everything that you did the whole day into one line per question. And so that's what we compiled. One other interesting thing, as you will find out, some of the wording is very curious. That's there's the Dutch English, there's the American English, and we'll just see how we can understand everything. But it's interesting to learn from each other. So, what is philosophy in the theosophical sense? And this is more or less in order by groups. So seeking to understand why things are the way they are, and understanding the wisdom of love and the unity of all. Those are from group 1. Just because I'm presenting, I got to, to put 2 from group 1. Okay. Then, compassion as an inner attitude of mind. So I suppose that's saying philosophy is compassion as an inner attitude of mind, becoming a way of life and awakening to a greater depth of soul. If you have questions, objections, raise your hand, and we'll look a little bit more into it. Okay, this is a mouthful, so we'll take it little by little. So philosophy is a transcendental light of atmic illumination. Up to there, okay? Yeah? Okay. Enlightening the mind. Creating a paradigm shift, leading to the critical distance necessary to see details from the perspective of the whole. Not so bad, huh? seemed. Okay, group 3. You're recognizing yourselves. Great. Oh, yeah. Well, what they did was the whole day's work they put together in this big sentence, and that's why that's the way it is. Okay. Now, philosophy is trying to understand how oneness permeates diversity. How oneness permeates diversity, and practicing this understanding in everyday life. Agree? All right. So, next. Philosophy is divine wisdom expressed by the 3 fundamental propositions, resulting in an organized system of truth. All right? A lot of philosophers around here. Do you know that when we were starting, a couple people came to me and said, this is going to be a difficult session because I have no idea what philosophy is. Well, I think we're going to leave with some better idea. Next. Philosophy is supra-personal caring. Caring enough to ask further questions in the dialectical search for harmony and unity. Okay, everyone tending towards unity. Yes, that question was supposed to get to the essence of philosophy in the theosophical sense. Question 2. How to develop philosophy in yourself and stimulate it in others. Group 1. Describe 3 steps in the 3 steps of development. This comes from Christian mysticism. So the first is purgativo, the purging of the mind, meaning to lose the prejudices. Illuminativo, moving to the light, example, by the practice of virtues like the paramitas, the Noble Eightfold Path, etc. And finally, unitivo, uniting with the divine. So that's developing philosophy in ourselves. There's a 4th that is hidden. It is, after you have gone through all the steps, silence. Because it is in the silence where you really find the truth. Okay, next. Living it, practicing it, being an example, and spreading the knowledge. So that's how to develop it in others. All right, group 2. Look at all beings in a deeper way and take them with us while traveling the path. All right? Group 3. Integration of what was never separate. Through dialogue, humility, reverence for another's point of view, and a bodhisattvic commitment to service. Oh, yay! 4. So, based on the awareness of the 3 propositions. I'm glad that people were bringing the 3 propositions back and linking them in. So, continuous self-reflection on our actions, thoughts, and feelings. Yeah? In order to improve ourselves and to awaken the oneness in ourselves. I guess that also means realizing the oneness in ourselves. Okay. To obtain self-realization on the noetic plane, we need to embody the paramitas as a path of discovery by questioning, testing, and cultivating our Buddhic nature so that we may better inspire and serve all life. Still okay? No objections? Okay, here we go. Be in a state of wonderment, which needed a little bit of an explanation for me. I thought wonderment was wondering or a sense of awe, but I was corrected. It means the impulse to search for truth. So that's wonderment. So to be in a state of wonderment, to recognize wisdom, to act compassionately towards others, thus spiraling forth to higher wonderment with more self-awareness. So this is, I was told that it's like the idea of a spiral where the sense of wonderment or the state of wonderment just keeps getting higher or increasing as we attain more self-awareness. Did I get that? All right. Question 3. What changes would occur in society if more people develop philosophy in the theosophical sense in themselves? So there were a number of examples. True justice and world peace would, I guess, would reign or would be achieved. Law and justice are the essence of love. we would have greater environmental consciousness, which means aligning ourselves with nature or our activities with the laws of nature. Embracing diversity. Deep listening to others for ideas that lead to truth. There was no example there. A change of attitude. Example, using social media for uplifting all as a vehicle for truth. Okay, people become naturally more responsible in all levels of activity and use resources wisely. But there's an explanation for using resources. It means cooperating with other entities with the assumption that all resources, everything in life, are composed of other lives. So using resources doesn't just mean using something without regard for the life that is in it. Did I get that? Yeah. People, communities, nations, and generations communicating through civil dialogue. Next, a self-regulating society honoring dignity, harmony, and global governance. You know how long it took us to put all of these together? I'm just breezing through them. If you have comments, raise your hands or just speak up. Acceptance of karma as opportunity. This was a little bit complicated because we don't want to just say, accept your karma. That could be a little bit painful sometimes when people are suffering. But basically, the idea of being able to accept, to think of karma as opportunity. And then always connect to the divine part of others. And I understand that this was a real-life example where a difficult tenant was treated with a view to the fact that there's also divinity even in someone who is difficult. And this tenant eventually became even a caretaker of the rental block. So, meaning when we give respect and treat someone with dignity and with a sense of divinity, then instead of a person losing their way, they actually are awakened to new opportunities or are able to make it or do better. Take care of the living environment. An example is in New York, all the buses drive on clean energy. I think they use hydrogen. And oil industry employees then who would lose their jobs would need to get retraining for alternative jobs. Okay, here's a good one. In psychiatry, look at patients as reincarnating colleagues. I couldn't get that. Reincarnating colleagues, and so I had to get Erwin to explain that they, I think in Netherlands, they call the fellow pilgrims. Like we are all fellow pilgrims, so we are all reincarnating colleagues. So that's a good one, new phrase for me. So look at the patients as fellow pilgrims that are dealing with a karmic burden. I guess in psychiatry, sometimes patients are looked down on or looked at differently. But if we see them as one of us, then we would treat them differently. And for example, we can provide an environment in which the patient is accepted and included. Universal education would be centered on the unity of all, teaching how to think and to dialogue. Greater peace and justice would be present. Social and ecological harmony would prevail. There would be protection and equitable distribution of resources for the globe. Do you recognize your contributions? Okay. This says the news media should tell the truth, or would tell the truth, if we could change. They would contribute to a better world, would be more holistic, and karmic reports. Americans, do you understand this? Karmic reports. It means showing causation and consequences. New phrase for you too.
So do we get karmic report cards when we get out of school?
So, yeah. So that's like also the earlier one, creating a better world too, right? And then vocation and work according to Dharma. I think that was the last for question 3. And then this was a request that this be put up. All agreed that the dynamics that go on in the group are perhaps more important than the conclusions. Did you all enjoy your group discussions? Yes. In my group, when we were trying to summarize the results into 1 line or 2 lines, you know, you would have to discard some. And they said, well, the results, we already got that, you know, that was from us. So what needs to be captured is not so much what's important. What's important is that we already got it, what was for us. I was asked to give some reflections as well. Good thing I prepared this. I didn't think that would go in 20 minutes. We have 1.5 hours. This is only a few slides. Just some reflections. So philosophy, according to the dictionary definition, is the love of wisdom. And I think we heard this morning. So one definition is that it's a way of thinking about ourselves, about the universe, and the interrelationships therein. It asks the most basic questions about existence. Typical stuff: who am I? Why am I here? Where am I going? Where did I come from? And it seeks for the meaning of life and the answer to the question of why things are the way they are. So this is philosophy in the sense of a love for wisdom, the conventional sense. However, HPB came up with wisdom of love, as we heard this morning. And she said that philosophia is meant to convey its secret sense, the wisdom of love. So her definition was that love means divine love. You had this in your handout. Love means divine love, the divine omnipresence spread throughout nature. So it is love for that divine omnipresence, which is everywhere. Her definition then of wisdom of love is that love means everything that is hidden beneath objective phenomena and the knowledge thereof. So this wisdom of love is not dealing with our everyday sense of love. It's dealing with a love for everything that is hidden. So the divine, or what is within us. And she gave another definition. It says, philosophy meant the highest adeptship, meaning the love and assimilation with deity. So adeptship is really when we can be just about one or merging back into the deity. So we saw love of wisdom, and we saw wisdom of love. But the essence of Theosophy, according to HPB, is wisdom and love. Here's a definition she gave in the Letters to the American Convention. She said, the essence of Theosophy is the perfect harmonizing of the divine with the human in man. So that is the wisdom part, because wisdom is the understanding of our true nature, or what it means to be fully human. So the essence of Theosophy is the perfect harmonizing of what is divine in us with the human in us. In a sense, we say that is becoming fully human, which means we are not just that divine part, we're not just this lower part. It is the full merging of the septenary nature. The essence of Theosophy is also love. Kindness, absence of every ill feeling or selfishness, charity, goodwill to all beings, and perfect justice to others as to oneself. These are the chief features. So this is the love part, seeing the divine in the other. So while we thought of philosophy as either love for wisdom or wisdom for love, in essence, that Theosophy is both wisdom and love. And the other definition she gave, Theosophy is the shoreless ocean of universal truth, love, and wisdom. Now, another thing that struck me is that based on the discussion yesterday about religion, what was coming back was Theosophy is religion, but also Theosophy is philosophy in two ways. One was, we said yesterday, Theosophy is a way of life. Oh, I'm sorry, religion is a way of life. And in the lecture, we were told about Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Raja and Bhakti Yoga. Well, philosophy as a way of life is also study to broaden the mind and open it to new truths, which is like Jnana Yoga. Altruism and service, to apply those truths to the service of others, which is like Karma Yoga. And meditation for self-discovery and union with the divine, Bhakti and Raja Yoga. So it seems that from this observation, Theosophy can be religion, can be philosophy. It seems that the same definition came up yesterday. And finally, last slide, I think. Oh, no, not yet. Oh, yeah, it is. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. He was a Jesuit priest, a philosopher, and a scientist. A good combination, an interesting combination of someone in religion and philosophy and science. And in the 1900s, when he was exposed to some of these teachings, he found that the following conclusions. Hey, get up. He found, number one, matter and spirit are one. And he said, matter is spirit, moving so slowly so that it could be seen. What is this saying? It is saying that there's just oneness. Everything is one. Like in the first fundamental proposition. Next, he found the universe is evolving through time. Evolving involves cycles, as in the second fundamental proposition. And finally, he came to a conclusion that evolution is directed by an ultimate purpose, as in the third proposition, ourselves being on an obligatory pilgrimage. So his conclusion was, and the ones who will be doing science might not like me very much for this. He said, science, philosophy, and religion are bound to converge as they draw nearer to the whole. So it seems that tomorrow we will probably find that Theosophy as science is probably going to be very similar to Theosophy as philosophy and religion. That's it. Thank you.
Maybe there are some questions for Elena while you're up there, or reactions on the synopsis of the synopsis. Yes.
Yes?
Yes, I had a question, Elena, about one of the first slides that you showed, and that was the one that suggested that love wisdom, is concerned not with objective reality, but something secret and hidden. And I would question that, because I think what makes love secret is that it has to be lived in order to be experienced and known. But it seems to me that the love that we're developing has everything to do with the objective world around us. Mm-hmm. That is, the world of appearances. Even though they may be thought of as fleeting and transitory, they're very real for us. And this love that embraces the universe, or the mind that embraces the universe, is one that leaves nothing out, it seems to me.
Should I try to find it?
It probably was among the first few.
The first few that you showed.
The slides of yours.
Of your reflections.
Oh, oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
No? Oh, okay.
Well, let's.
I shouldn't interfere.
Here, the second one. From the reflections. I can't blame it on you.
It's right here. It's the second one. Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah.
Philosophia is meant to convey its secret sense.
Yeah.
One more.
Keep going.
Okay.
There we go.
The wisdom of love means love of everything hidden beneath objective phenomena and the knowledge thereof. I think because she was talking about divine love, divine for that omnipresence. But yeah, maybe it's true. It's also on the surface. If it's everywhere, it has to be also on the surface. But that's Blavatsky's definition. Yes.
There's a quote from HPB, I think it's from The Secret Doctrine, where she says that Theosophists worship abstract invisible nature. Does anybody remember that one? Revere.
Oh.
I think either worship or revere abstract invisible noumenal nature, something like that. Donson, do you remember?
That's the book.
Pretty close to it. So there is the idea of the invisible, even though we need to incorporate this into our daily Dharma. So
Yeah.
it's just a thought.
So what do you think? Do you think it has something to do with essence? That's why she's talking about invisible?
Yes.
Yeah?
Was that a criticism or a compliment, Jonathan? I can't quite understand that statement.
I was trying to invert. Sorry. I was trying to support both sides. I was trying to say that there is the idea
Diplomat.
of the invisible, even though we have to try and apply this in our daily dharma.
Okay.
What we
Baron,
see is a
and then-
Maya.
What we see is Maya.
So if you stick on, because this quotation is the definition of philosophy, and philosophy means that you're not focusing on the things you see or you perceive with your senses, but of the force behind the phenomenal world. And that's why she's speaking, I think, about the things hidden beneath the phenomena.
Okay.
You're not loving the body of a human being, but you are loving the human being itself.
Okay.
Okay, 3 hands over there, and then I come to you.
One of the things that she's always been very concerned with is that we don't get taken in by surfaces. That's what Baran's point is. So the wisdom of love, there can be unwise love. The wisdom of love always sees what's underlying and causal to those surfaces. Otherwise, we love on the surface and we know what that's all about. My aunt had 5 marriages. She knows what that's all about. You have to see something deeper than that in order to even properly love the surface.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
This is a very esoteric statement pointing to the soul of all things, that in the esoteric sense, the physical is not considered a principle. Therefore, the force or the wisdom of love, because you have to understand what is wisdom in this sense, or the intelligent activity based on love, permeates through the soul of all things. It's not dealing with the physical. And that's what she's talking about.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
It's funny, we thought we couldn't spend a day about
Oh, yeah.
philosophy. We're still continuing. We,
No,
we
this
can't,
is
just
great,
can't
yeah.
stop.
This is great.
Yes, I have here the whole quote, and in one part of it, Blavatsky says, "It means divine love, that universal element of divine omnipresence spread throughout nature, and which is at once the chief cause and effect." So I think in saying that, she's also, she's pointing to the essence, as we are saying, but she's integrating, this is both the cause and the effect. So it's, although it's pointing to look at the essence, it's not denying the effect that would be the external manifestation.
But that is suggesting that it would include both the
It would
surface
include
phenomena.
both, because that divine love is not only the essence, it's the
Yes.
essence and the manifestation,
Yeah.
the cause and the effect.
So that goes back to the original question, why it's not including.
No, it is including both. Or did I misunderstand
Yeah,
the problem
no.
we have here? That part of the
The
quote doesn't
question
include.
was this one,
Yeah, but
love of everything hidden.
yeah, but in another part of the same quote, she's including both.
Yeah, here, on this part. That's
With the cause and effect.
Yeah, the cause and effect.
Could you put up the slide you have of the to the American Convention, the essence of Theosophy? Yes. So I think this also answers the question, because she talks about the perfect harmonizing of the divine with the human and man, but also points out that you need kindness, absence of every ill feeling or selfishness, charity, goodwill to all beings. and perfect justice to others as to oneself. So as we know with HPB, sometimes in one place she says something that we're a little puzzled by, and then in another place she'll say it something in a different way that clarifies it. So I think this pretty much indicates that
It is all.
the wisdom of the knowledge of the hidden and divine has to be reflected in action, which is a form of love.
Okay. Thank you.
I think perhaps that we perceive and express love to the outer world from the Kama Manasic point of view. And she's talking about the love of the hidden, of the pervasive, from the Buddhi Manas point of view.
Mm. Yeah, the divine love.
I'm in complete agreement and understanding of everything, but up until the point where she says, perfect justice to others and to oneself. Who administers the justice to others and to oneself, especially to the oneself?
What do you think? Isn't it us?
Well, I could assume it's karma, but
Well,
I don't know what she means.
Well, I don't know about you, but my impression is this is what we do from our part. This is not based on the divine or the law or the immutable law of karma. I think this is us practicing justice.
But then man administers justice on another man. I mean,
It could be relative is what is your problem. Justice could be relative. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. And that's a problem until we become perfect. Yes. I think at our level, justice is pretty subjective. But I guess as we improve and evolve, we may be able to perceive what would be perfect justice. Yes. Where's the mic? Oh, sorry.
Sometimes we fall into and keep the Roman ideas of virtue, which are very social ideas, urbanitas, justitia, and so on. The Greek ideas of virtue were powers of character, and justice was one of the 5 powers of character. Justice there means being fair all the way around and balanced, and that is on us, because it's a power of character, not some legal thing between human beings.
Mm. Yes, Maria.
In relation to the justice, the last 3 of the golden stairs, which Madame Blavatsky includes in her esoteric instructions as suggestions from her teacher, are courageous endurance of personal injustice, a brave declaration of principles, and a valiant defense of those who are unjustly attacked. All of them having to do with courage and the ability to really ponder what justice means for us, because we don't think about ourselves as enduring personal injustice, or even what that might mean, considering the law of karma.
Mm-hmm.
So those things are worth pondering.
Okay, thank you.
No more questions?
I can't believe there are no more questions. That's it?
No, we have one.
Here.
Just one more thing about the mystery of justice is that in Judge's aphorisms on karma, he talks about how justice and mercy are at a certain level the same thing. There's no mercy without justice, and there's no justice without mercy.
Just a short remark. I would love to see all those products of our groups again, of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I would like to read them over when I'm at home, and I would love to take them into the booklet we make of it. I don't know if that were the suggestion, but I would love to read it over and perhaps react on that after that to the ITC board. Then we can talk further on it.
I can definitely send you the file.
Great.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Elena.
All right.
Thank you very much.